Howdy campers. I was actually finishing processing the editing and saving the video that I thought was going to be the only video I filmed today. So this is about a movie, and if you've not seen Detention of the Dead, you might not want to watch this. However, if you have an Xbox that's got internet connection, you can watch it for free this weekend. This is how I was able to do this review. So, I've heard of this movie before because I used to be not really a fan of Glee, but a fan of some of the characters in Glee. And I'd heard of Max Adler, who played the gay jock in Glee. And he filmed this movie called Detention of the Dead, and so I'd heard about it, and didn't know much more other than it had Max Adler, that he died in it, and that it was called Detention of the Dead. So I get online, well, not online, I get on the Xbox to do today's Borderlands Borderlands, my system can hear me, to do today's Borderlands setup, and discovered that they were having what they call a free zombie weekend. And the free rental is Detention of the Dead. That's how I got to this. So, it is, they describe it in the like little description summary, whatever they describe it as, The Breakfast Club meets Zombieland. And pretty much, because it starts out with this nerd guy walking through the school, like holding onto his backpack and like it's a life raft, and he goes to this room that everybody holds attention in, not the library. It's just this random classroom, and so he gets there, and there's a few other people already there, two jocks, a cheerleader, and this, and he sits down away from everybody because, you know, he doesn't get along with the two jocks or the cheerleader, even though he's crushing on the cheerleader. And these two other people join them before the movie really gets started. One's a goth girl with a pink clip-on hair extension thing, and a stoner dude who rides a motorized longboard. So they get to the detention, and there's this other guy that's sitting in the back that you don't really notice right away, and he's been bit by something. He's like, I was bit by this dude in the quad, da 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 da, and he shows the wound, and it's like pulsating and being all weird. And the dude turns into a zombie. So basically, everybody freaks out. He attacks the teacher because nobody knows what's going on, of course, except for maybe the the nerd and the goth chick, who turn out to be best friends. And the goth chicks watch every single zombie flick on the planet, and the nerd dude is not the typical nerd. He's like one of those guys at video games, so he's played every single zombie video game on the planet. So they kind of know what's going on right at first, but not really. And so the teacher gets you know, bit in the neck, and that's when the kids kind of discover that there's zombies in the high school. And so they come up with a plan to go to the library, because it's got one entrance and enough shelving and stuff like that to make a good barricade. And so they travel quickly to the library with some shenanigans going on in that trip. And they get there, and then shortly after they're there and they've got the barricade up and everything, the teacher turns, which every person who's ever watched a zombie movie or played a zombie video game knows that if they get bit, don't bring them with you. If you don't have the heart to kill them, at least leave them behind. So the teacher turns, and they're holding her down. They're trying to keep her from attacking everybody. She bites one of the jocks on the fingertip, and he hides it from everybody. And then they chop her head off with a paper cutter. One of those big paper cutters. Oh man, dude. As the stoner does it, and as he's doing it, he's like speaking some language. I don't know exactly what language he's speaking. Could be Chinese, could be Korean, could be Japanese, could be like, I don't know. It's some kind of, could be something. It could be English, and I just don't understand what he's saying in that moment. So because he's just, yeah, it's really weird. So he cuts her head off, and of course that doesn't kill the zombie. That just makes it so that she can't like move around. So that it's a talk. It's basically a zombie head going all over the place. And he's like taunting it throughout the entire first part of the movie, like going up close to you know. And so they get high, and they share why they're in detention, which is, you know, Breakfast Club. And turns out that the nerd dude was going to kill himself with a gun that he had brought to school. He was going to just in detention and in front of everybody. And so turns out he was using a albuterol, or not a albuterol, albuterol's breathing thing, Adderall. He was using Adderall to help himself study, which I don't get that reference. I'd have to look it up. But he was using Adderall to help himself study, and the teacher had caught him, and he had gotten into Harvard. And if the teacher reported what he had done, because these pills were not prescribed to him, so he was doing this illegally. If the teacher reported him, he was going to lose his ride to Harvard and all that stuff. So he thought his life was over, basically, and overreacted. And the other jock had already died at this point. So the jock that had gotten bit, and the cheerleader were caught kissing and foreplay in the bathroom. That's why they were in detention. The stoner dude and the gothic chick are always in detention, so they didn't share how they got into this exact detention that they were in. But it's it's funnier than hell because it's campy. There's actually not a whole lot of blood. I mean, yeah, there's scenes where you actually see intestines coming out and stuff like that, and there's campy scenes where they use the blood as a gag, but it's not really gory, you know. And the zombies are there, but they're not prominent all the time. You're not faced with them every single second. And then they put up all the cliches about the nerd wanting the head cheerleader, and the head cheerleader in the heat of the moment deciding that she's going to throw her popularity away and kind of like be with him because he's a cool guy, and then the whole like, but I'm in love with my best friend as well, and all that stuff. They threw every single teenage movie cliche into this when it comes to that kind of thing. And then by the end, it's even a cliche for the end, because the nerd and the gothic chick are the only two that survive. They're up on the roof, and they're gonna kiss, and they're gonna, like, you know, resign themselves to the fact that they're not gonna make it out on a date that they planned earlier in the movie. And then suddenly, here comes the army shooting down the zombies and saying, the zombie outbreak has been contained. All survivors come out of the building and all that stuff. They get out there, they kiss. It's all like, oh, pretty rainbows and circling around the kiss and all that stuff. And it fades out, and you think it's over, and then it fades back in, which was like, whoa, hello, what? And then they stop kissing, and then the cheerleader who got bit right at the end and then saved their butts from her zombified boyfriend pops up and attacks the dude. So like it gives you like two different endings, sort of, where like it fades out, so you get the happy ending where they survived and they're kissing and they're gonna date and maybe get married and have babies, and then you get the other ending where they faded back in and he got killed by the cheerleader and the goth girl's all alone. So it's cancel. I would say it's a movie worth watching at least once. It's not something that I'm going to put into my movie collection, that's for sure, but it's worth watching at least once, especially now that it's free on Xbox right now. So give it a try, have fun with it, and if you can, since it's 2 weeks, and it's 2 weeks until Halloween. if you can, because I'm going to. At the beginning of next week, I'm going to start watching every horror movie that I own. I've got the entire entire original Nightmare on Elm Street series. Though I'm not gonna watch Freddy's New Nightmare. It's not my favorite. No, my favorites are Dream Warriors and Freddy's Dead. Two are the campiest ones that are in there. Anyway, but I'll be watching that entire series. And I also have Freddy vs. Jason and a few other horror movies in my collection to watch for that. So if you guys want, let me know in the comments if you guys want me to make a video every night talking about which movie I'm watching until Halloween. And then Halloween, I will probably watch something not horror. I tend to be contrary. If I don't have TV to like be able to tune in to sit that they're playing all night, I tend to be contrary and watch something that's completely opposite, like a romantic comedy or something like that, just to be weird, I guess. So leave me comments, let me know if you want me to do that. If you like my videos, subscribe. If you like this video specifically, hit the like button. Also, I'm on Twitter. I use the hashtag ButcLesb. I'll put it in the description below. That's the hashtag I use to talk about my channel and everything. So if you find that hashtag and you see a picture of me, that is my Twitter. There's also a link to my Twitter on the front of the channel, along with my GoFundMe. So watch the video. It should be appearing over here during the video, and help me out if you can. If you can't donate, at least share the link. Talk at you later.